What's going on, guys? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe, and I'm joined, of course, with Haley.
Hey everyone.
And we just saw last one out of Beach City, and it was definitely not the episode I was expecting. But I don't think anyone was really expecting the direction that this episode ended up going. I really, really loved this episode. Really got to see a really interesting side of Pearl that we've never seen before, and she got some character development, which was really exciting. So what did you think of the episode?
Yeah, I actually really liked it. It was kind of like the gem version of a slice of life episode. Definitely didn't really have any lore pieces, but it was still good nonetheless. And it's what people wanted to see for Pearl. They wanted to see her character development moving forward even more.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it. Now, if you watched our previous discussion, I predicted that this show would be a bit of a misdirection because the description said, the gems go to a rock show, blah, blah, blah. So I thought there was going to be some gem-related thing in the midst of this rock concert or something crazy was going to happen. But nothing crazy happened. Something crazy happened. She, kind of ran away from the cops. But besides that, like you said, there was nothing really main story related, but it was very good character development for Pearl, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, as we saw, one of the main things of this episode was Pearl kind of turning into bad Pearl, if only for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was doing stuff, we never thought we'd see her do. Like she actually started to drink some apple juice, which is unheard of pretty much for Pearl.
I like how they made the joke like, oh, I'm going to start drinking tonight. Like, no, like literally she's drinking.
Apple juice, yeah.
But yeah, like it brought up an interesting point that we never really thought of, which was like Pearl was a renegade Pearl. Like we know her as this super uptight, proper, clean person, but she was literally a rebel. Like she completely went against all of her teaching. So she's actually kind of the opposite in that sense.
Yeah, was this like something that was how she was like a little bit before Rose, before Steven came into the picture? Was that her personality a little more? Was she always like that back then? Or she wasn't always this uptight thing that a person or gem that we've seen apparently.
I feel like she probably started getting uptight like around towards the end of the war, or like after the war had already ended. Then there wasn't as much seriousness going on, and then she was just kind of dealing with humans at that point. So she kind of developed, I guess, more of an uppity personality.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then the other big thing, another big thing moving on, is that we saw the mystery girl. As Steven later notes, of course, that lady looks a lot like Rose, which is probably why Pearl was started to get interested in her in the first place. But, I mean, at the very least, we can see that, to what Pearl claims is that she's gone past most of what was plaguing her until Mr. Greg. And she can now focus on making new relationships instead of worrying over things from the past. Although, of course, that the mystery girl still looks a lot like Rose. Perhaps it is a step forward.
Yeah, that was one thing I was worried about when she was like, oh, I moved past this. Why is this happening? Like, I thought she was going to kind of go back to reverting to, like, obsessing over Rose and stuff like that. And then we get to see a little bit more of her insecurity. Like, she was like, oh, I thought it was going to be cool today, but she totally didn't realize, like, what she did just a second ago. But I'm glad she kind of... She's just moving up in the world. She's coming out of her shell. She's doing more... She's being more open. She's moving past her past. She's not holding on to grudges for Greg, and she's not as insecure. Like, she's really come a long way since we first saw her.
Yeah, even though they still called her the repressed nerd at the end. But I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I love the end credits.
Yeah, I'll get to that later a little bit. But as we later see when they leave for the concert, Pearl actually runs a red light. And, of course, as usual, as you'd expect, the police come. But I was a bit surprised with what ended up happening because we don't expect Pearl to be the one to do bad, like driving like that, to totally just run away from the police. But I guess that's the new bad Pearl.
Yeah, it was the thirst getting to her. She was ready.
Yes. And of course, with Pearl not making the right decisions, Steven had to be the voice of reason, which was nice to see, I guess.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird turn. I didn't even think like how extreme that was.
Yeah, they got away with a lot in this episode, and adding on to that, Amethyst almost swears at one point.
Yeah,
That
that
was really
great.
funny, but that's just adds that to the list of things they got away with.
Yeah.
And then, as Pearl is running, she's driving away from the police. We get confirmation that the crystal gems are not citizens, which is something that obviously we could have guessed because of how long they'd been around and how little they interact with humans. But it's nice to see confirmation of that.
Yeah, I feel like this is completely. I guess this isn't completely unrelated, but I feel like the government does know about the gems and it has more information than we're led on to believe, because of the diamond on the dollar bill, and then like all of the conspiracies that Ronaldo's been coming up with have been 100% accurate. So I feel like the government is actually involved in the gems in some way, and also in rising tides, crashing skies. Yeah,
Guys.
I was about to say crashing seas. When he's like talking to Mayor Dewey, he was like, "Cover up? What cover up?" That could have just been a joke about politicians covering things up, or that could have been something more related to the gems. But yeah,
That's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know if they'll ever get into that.
probably not.
Yeah, but that's really interesting to know. Also, later, during the drive away from the cops, we do see a mention. There's a sign for Ocean Town, which is where they go, and on the sign it says that it is not on fire anymore. I guess it was. There was actually a mention to Ocean Town in season 1, where it was like, something happened to Ocean Town, but we had no idea, and now we know that apparently there was a big fire there.
It's so funny.
I know.
I wonder what Ocean Town's supposed to be.
Oh, like in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know that area, so.
Ocean City, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably.
But I hopefully they start expanding into these like Ocean Town and other places more often.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Then when they actually get to the concert, we get to see that the guest star for the episode, they mentioned him earlier, but the guest star was Mike Kroll, and he's an actual musician. And the song, there's actually a song of his that plays like it's a real song that he's had for a while, I think, and it's called 15 Minutes. Have you never? I haven't heard him. Did you ever hear of him?
Yeah, never heard of him. I checked out his Twitter. He's in the LA area.
Oh, that's cool.
I guess I think he's friends with probably Ian James Courtley, because that's the only person that I see that follows him. So I guess that's how he kind of got that hookup to be a guest star on Steven Universe.
Yeah, that is awesome. And another thing that I saw that was funny was that Amethyst said, or Pearl thought that Amethyst said my Kroll instead of my Kroll, so Pearl later says your Kroll, like, you're referring to him.
I didn't even catch that's what they were trying to say.
Yeah, that's like a really small detail.
Wow.
It's like, it shows Pearl, like that's how Pearl is, doesn't understand everything yet. Oh, so we also saw some new background characters, I think, and also some previous background characters that like people that worked on the show. They seem to be doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Because we've seen more like crowds recently too, which is probably the reason why we're seeing a lot of these people that help work on the show are just recurring background characters.
Yeah, I saw Ian. Who else was there?
I didn't check. I don't know a lot of them. I noticed Ian too, but
Right.
I don't know like what a lot of the people that work on the show look like.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And kind of ending the episode off, Pearl does get to eventually talk to the mystery girl, and then of course Pearl gives answers to all the questions that the girl gives her, like very gem-like answers. Obviously it probably makes no sense to that girl, and she probably just thought that Pearl had a weird sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
What do
probably
you think
exactly what
about
that was.
Yeah.
When she was saying her color is just a manifestation of her light or whatever, she probably thought she was speaking poetically.
That is true, yeah. So I guess that girl must like that sense of humor, because eventually she gave Pearl her number.
Oh yeah. It's time.
Pearl's moving on, I guess. People do think it's time for that, of course, because after all this time, finally, we get to see something like this. And we know that the girl's name starts with an S, and the number is, we talked about this, it doesn't actually work. It's like has 555 in the middle, and a lot of phone numbers with that are used for like shows and stuff because they don't actually work. They're not real numbers.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be some kind of code like in Future Boys Ultron, where it was coordinates or some type of hotline with a secret in it or something like that, but it wasn't. That would be more Gravity Falls-ish.
Yes, true. But at the very least, she's probably going to be back because it said at the very end, introducing Mystery Girl.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why they're not saying her name.
Yeah,
I wonder if
we
there's
know it
any
starts
reason
with
for
S.
that.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, no, I don't know. I mean, what could possibly, I don't know, a surprise for the next episode? I don't know.
Mystery Girl is Pink Diamond.
Theory time.
Yeah, new theory. It's confirmed.
But I think that's pretty much all that happened in that episode. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really happy for Pearl. Like she totally deserves to move on and be happy and not be stuck in the past. I really hope we see Mystery Girl again. I hope they become a thing.
Yes.
Totally ship it, and that's all.
I know. Yep, this was quite an awesome episode, and the next one up, I believe next week most likely, is Onion Gang.
Hey.
So yeah, you got some ideas about that one, don't you?
Yeah, I'll be doing a video on Onion Gang because Onion's my favorite character, and I have like a mini conspiracy, I guess, on Onion.
Awesome.
But that about wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week with Onion Gang with an Onion Gang discussion video. I've been Michael. Been here with Haley.
Bye, guys.
And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.